My fiancé's betrayal. Your family can't come to our wedding, they're way too mortifying. So I invited 0 people. Including myself. She learned at the altar. She stood at the altar, beautiful in white, surrounded by 200 guests, but the groom? The groom was nowhere to be found, and neither was anyone else she expected to see. How did we get there? Well, it started when my fiancé told me my own family wasn't welcome at my wedding. My world was always about grit and honest work. The comforting clatter of plates at my mom's diner, the quiet strength of my dad after 40 years at the factory, these were the sounds and sights of my childhood. Every Sunday, my noisy, chaotic, wonderful family gathered at my parents' house, a constant, unchanging anchor in my life. I'm 31 now, running a small plumbing business in the suburbs. Nothing flashy, but it pays the bills. I'm the guy who shows up, fixes what's broken, no excuses. My brother works for the railroad, my sister teaches 3rd grade. We're not rich, we're not connected, and we certainly don't have cocktail party stories. But we have each other. We're loud, we laugh too much, we tell the same stories. My dad still wears his old ties to anything formal, and my sister's kids run wild. They're mine. And I never thought I'd have to defend that to anyone. Until I met Ashley. 2 years ago, Ashley called my business because her luxury apartment sink was leaking. When I showed up, she answered the door in workout clothes, hair pulled back, looking like she belonged on a magazine cover, miles away from my reality. She worked in pharmaceutical sales, drove a Lexus, and her Instagram was a perfectly curated dream of gratitude and manifestation. We clicked, somehow. She laughed at my jokes, seemed genuinely fascinated by my hands-on business. The first few months? They were great. We'd grab dinner, she'd visit my place. I thought, maybe this is it. But then, little cracks started to show. She'd introduce me as someone who owns his own company, never quite specifying what kind of company. When her friends were around, she'd subtly steer conversations away from my family. One friend even asked, with genuine surprise, "You're really a plumber?" like it was a criminal confession. Ashley laughed it off, but I saw the quick flash of embarrassment in her eyes. Last spring, when I proposed, I knew the ring had to be expensive. She'd been dropping hints for months, comparing it to her friends' rings. I spent way more than I wanted to, telling myself it was an investment in our future. She said yes, she cried, then immediately took 50 photos of the ring before even hugging me. Within 24 hours, our engagement was plastered all over social media. Wedding planning started, and it quickly became clear this wasn't going to be the backyard barbecue I'd envisioned. This was an event. Ashley had vision boards, spreadsheets, a budget that spiraled from $15,000 to $32,000 before I could blink. Every conversation was about the aesthetic, the vibe, the experience for our guests. When I suggested something simpler, cheaper, she'd look at me like I'd proposed a gas station wedding. I paid for most of it, her salary covered her lavish lifestyle and student loans. I didn't mind contributing, thinking that's what you do for a shared future. But I started feeling less like a groom, and more like a walking ATM. My family was thrilled about the wedding. My mom started planning her outfit, my sister offered to help with anything, my dad made jokes about walking an aisle not in a courtroom. But Ashley started making comments. Subtle at first, about curating the guest list and how not everyone understands formal events. It didn't hit me until she asked how many people I planned to invite. 40, maybe 50, I said, listing my family, my buddy David, some longtime clients. She went quiet. "We need to talk about the overall composition," she said. And that's when I knew this wasn't about numbers. This was about them. She started picking people apart, never directly, always cloaked in concern or practicality. Would your mom really be comfortable in such a formal setting? Does your dad have something besides that tie? Kids at weddings are so disruptive, can't your sister get a babysitter? I pushed back, defending my family fiercely. My mom had been to formal events. My dad could wear whatever he wanted. My nieces and nephews were family. Ashley had an answer for everything. She wasn't excluding them, she just wanted them to feel comfortable. Wouldn't it be awkward for them around her friends? She made it sound like she was doing them a favor. And, shamefully, I started to feel like I was the crazy one for questioning it. The last family dinner at my parents' house, 6 weeks before the wedding, was different. Ashley came, but she barely touched my mom's food, phone face down, giving tight, unseeing smiles. My family tried to include her, asking about wedding plans, telling stories. My mom even offered to help with decorations. Ashley just said everything was handled. I watched my mom's face fall. My dad's glance across the table told me he saw it too, but wouldn't say anything. Ashley left early, claiming she wasn't feeling well. Driving back, silence thick between us, all I could think was how cold she'd been, how separate she'd made herself from the people I loved most. That night, in her perfectly decorated apartment, she finally said it. Calmly, rationally, so at first, it didn't even register as cruel. "We need to talk about the guest list." I braced myself for seating arrangements. Then she said it, "Most of my family shouldn't come." The room went silent. I asked her what she meant. She explained, her friends and colleagues, people important to her career and social circle, would be there. The wedding needed to project a certain image, a level of sophistication. She was worried my family wouldn't understand that. "Be specific," I demanded. She sighed, like I was making things difficult. "They don't fit the aesthetic we're going for. People will judge us if they act like they usually do." I sat there, on her white couch. And I understood. This woman, the one I was going to marry, was ashamed of me. Ashamed of where I came from. Ashamed of the people who raised me. Ashamed of everything that made me me. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I didn't try to change her mind. Because there was nothing to change. This was who she was. I looked at her, sipping her wine, that concerned expression, like she was just telling me we needed to switch caterers. And I said, "Okay." She looked relieved, expecting a fight, happy to avoid it. She started talking about a small, intimate ceremony, how my parents would understand. But I wasn't listening. I was already making a different plan. A plan that would cost me a fortune, probably make me look insane, but would be worth every single consequence. I left her apartment that night, drove straight home. Didn't sleep. The entire night was a blur of phone calls and emails. By sunrise, everything was cancelled. First, T. He venue. The biggest piece. When I called at 7 a.m., the manager was bewildered. Nobody cancels a wedding 2 weeks out. Nobody walks away from a $12,000 deposit. "I need to cancel immediately," I told him. "I understand I'll lose the money." He asked if I was sure. "Absolutely." He processed it, sounding like he thought I was having a breakdown. Maybe I was, but my head felt clearer than it had in months. Next, the caterer. Shorter conversation. She just sighed, said she'd send the final invoice for the deposit. The photographer was apologetic, offering to only charge half the deposit. The florist was less understanding. I said I'd pay for the specialty flowers anyway. The cake designer said she'd still charge for labor. The wedding planner, after 3 question marks in an email, called me 6 times until I picked up. She wanted to know what was happening. If Ashley knew. If we could work through it. "Ashley doesn't know yet," I said. "And no, we're not working through this. It's done." She said she'd never seen a groom cancel everything without telling the bride. "Well, now you have," I told her. After I hung up, I sat in my kitchen, laptop open. Ashley had done most of the inviting through social media, but I had the email list from tracking RSVPs. I typed the simplest message: the wedding scheduled for 2 weeks from Saturday has been cancelled. There will be no ceremony, no reception. I apologize for any inconvenience. No explanation. No blame. Just facts. Hit send. Replies started pouring in. Confusion, concern. Are you okay? Anything we can do? I didn't respond. I owed no one an explanation. And I knew whatever I said would get back to Ashley. I blocked her number, her social media, her email. Then I called my supplier, told him I was taking 2 weeks off. Something I'd never done in 6 years. He asked if I was okay. I will be, I said. Take the time you need, he told me. Then I called my brother. Can I crash at your place for a bit? He said yes, no questions asked. That's my family. They show up. I packed a bag, drove to his apartment. For the first time in 2 years, I felt like I could breathe. I'd walked away from a wedding, a relationship, 2 years of my life. In 4 hours. Most people would say I should have talked to her, tried to work it out, given her a chance. But those people didn't hear what I heard in her voice. They didn't see her face when she talked about my family like they were a problem to be managed. I knew she'd spin it, make me feel like I was overreacting. I couldn't let that happen. The truth was, she never respected where I came from. And someone who doesn't respect your past will never truly respect your future. I'd spent 2 years trying to be enough for her, trying to smooth off my rough edges. It still wasn't enough. Because the problem wasn't me. The problem was, she wanted someone she could show off. I was just a guy who fixed toilets. My family, the people who loved me and showed up for me every Sunday, deserved better than to be treated like embarrassments. If she couldn't see their value, she couldn't see mine. My decision solidified into something unshakable. My brother came home around 6. He sat beside me on the couch. What happened? I told him everything. The comments, the conversation, the cancellations, the email. He listened, silent. When I finished, he was quiet for a minute. Are you sure? He asked. Is this really what you want? I've never been more sure of anything, I replied. He nodded. Okay then. Then he asked if Ashley knew yet. No, I said. She probably thinks we're still getting married. He looked at me, half concern, half respect. She's gonna find out eventually, he warned. It's probably gonna be bad. I know, I said. I'm ready. All right then, he said, we deal with it together. I couldn't sleep that night. Part of me felt guilty. Maybe I should have told her. But the bigger part remembered her, wine glass in hand, telling me my family wasn't good enough. And that part felt absolutely nothing. All the deposits, all the payments, about $28,000, gone. But I'd bought something more valuable. My self-respect. My family's dignity. The knowledge that I'd never again let someone make me ashamed of who I was. The next few days were strange and quiet. I stayed at my brother's, phone off, avoiding social media. On the 4th day, my sister called my brother's landline. The whole family knows, she said. They want you to come to Sunday dinner. I mumbled about not being ready to talk. You don't have to talk about anything, she insisted. You just need to be here. Sunday came. I drove to my parents' house. Everyone was there. My mom hugged me, silent. My dad squeezed my shoulder. We ate dinner like always. Nobody asked questions, nobody made me explain. After dinner, my mom brought coffee, and my dad looked at me. You did the right thing, he said. That was it. That was all anyone said. And a knot in my chest, months old, finally loosened. The morning of what was supposed to be my wedding, I woke up at my brother's, made coffee, sat on the balcony. Calm. The anxiety I'd carried since the engagement was gone, replaced by relief, mixed with sadness for the wasted time. My phone was still off. Whatever was about to happen didn't need my participation. Around 10, my brother came out with his coffee. "How are you doing?" he asked. "Good," I said, surprisingly good. His phone rang. It was David, my high school buddy, invited to the wedding. My brother put it on speaker. David was stressed, confused. He'd shown up at the venue early, hoping to help. They told him the wedding was cancelled 2 weeks ago. "Are you okay?" he asked. "What happened?" I shook my head, silently telling my brother not to say much. "He's fine," my brother told David. "He'll explain later. You should probably head out." By 11, my brother's phone was ringing constantly. He stopped answering. "Has anyone mentioned Ashley?" I asked. "Not yet," he said. "But someone will." The call came at 1:15. An unknown number. It was one of Ashley's bridesmaids, practically screaming. "Where are you? What have you done?" She put it on speaker. Ashley was at the venue, in her wedding dress, with all her bridesmaids. She'd shown up at noon, got ready, took photos. Then, when it was time for the ceremony, the coordinator pulled her aside. Showed her the cancellation paperwork. My signature. The date. The email confirmation. Ashley didn't believe it. He'd never cancel without telling me. The bridesmaid cried. But then, she just stood there, in front of 200 guests who were starting to realize something was very, very wrong. She demanded to know if I was coming. "No," my brother said. "He's not coming. And yes, the wedding is cancelled. I'm sorry you got caught up in this." The bridesmaids started sobbing. "This is cruel. Heartless. How could he do this to Ashley?" My broth. Hung up. "Are you okay?" he asked me. "Yes," I said. And I meant it. Because even though I knew she was humiliated, hurt, probably destroying her phone trying to reach me, I also knew she'd done this to herself. Over the next few days, the story spread like wildfire. Ashley posted about being blindsided and betrayed, painting herself as the victim. Her friends rallied, calling me a monster. But then, one of the bridesmaids, the one who called my brother, had a crisis of conscience. She told someone the real story. Ashley wanted to exclude my family because they weren't good enough for her image. That version started spreading. 2 narratives fought for dominance. And public opinion started to turn. This wasn't just cold feet. This was about respect. Ashley tried to salvage her image, posting about complicated relationships and growing apart. But the damage was done. Her comments section filled with questions. Is it true you banned his family? Do you care more about aesthetics than love? She deleted her social media. I heard she moved back in with her parents. I felt bad for about 5 seconds. Then I remembered her, wine glass in hand, telling me my family didn't fit her aesthetic. The feeling passed. 3 weeks after the wedding that never happened, Ashley showed up at my parents' house. Sunday. Family dinner. My mom answered the door. "Ashley's outside," she said. "She wants to talk." My dad offered to handle it. "No," I said, "I'll go." I walked outside. She looked smaller, less polished. She asked if we could talk. "We can talk right here," I said, glancing at the house, knowing my family was probably watching. She asked if I understood what I'd done to her. How humiliating it was to stand in a wedding dress with no groom. I looked her in the eye. "Yes, I understand exactly what I did. And I'd do it again." Because someone who's ashamed of your family will never respect who you are. And I'm done apologizing for where I come from. She stood there for another minute, waiting for me to say more, to give her something to argue with. I had nothing else. She got in her car and drove away. I went back inside. My mom asked if I was okay. Yes, I said. Better than I've been in years. 6 months later, my business is thriving. I bought new equipment, hired another guy, landed a big contract. I never heard from Ashley again. My brother asked once if I regretted how I handled it. I told him the truth, the only thing I regretted was not seeing who she really was sooner. But better late than never. So, what do you think? Was I justified in how I handled things, or did I go too far? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more real-life stories.